Getting all around my room, my world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the World of Juice channel, and welcome to a special video today. I had been always curious about this concept taking effect in real life, and there's been discussions over the past several years, even probably decade at this point, about this concept actually taking place in American sports. I doubt it'll ever happen. Actually, I don't even doubt. I guarantee it'll never happen. At least not with the top American sports. Maybe with MLS it would happen, but certainly not with like baseball, basketball, football, or hockey. It would never happen. Obviously not hockey, because there's not a lower league that I mean, there is like the minors in hockey. Then it doesn't matter. This concept will never happen in the big four sports. And the concept I'm talking about is promotion and relegation. Now, obviously, those two words are synonymous with European football, or soccer, as us uncultured Americans would call it. And that concept is very interesting because if you're not familiar for some reason what promotion relegation is, let's take the Premier League, for instance, because that's the biggest league in European soccer. So let's say that Manchester United, even though it would never happen in a million years, and if it did, everybody would be fired and the entire city of Manchester would probably burn down, except for the city that's not, except for the part of the city that's Manchester City fans. So let's say Man United has a horrible season in the Premier League and they finish in the bottom three of their table. They would get relegated to the Championship, which is their second division of English football. And let's say a team down there, I don't really know the landscape of English Premier League football or Championship football in the current day. Let's just say Swansea. I don't know if Swansea's in the Premier League right now. They could be, so this could be a bad example. But let's just say Swansea gets up, and they're at the top of the Championship. Then they would obviously, the next season, move up to the Premier League and play Premier League football. That does come with a pay bonus, and because you get on Premier League TVs and all that kind of stuff, you get the share of the Premier League revenue and all that kind of stuff. There's a bunch of different additions that come along with it. But Man United, if they finish in the bottom half or the bottom tier of the Premier League table, they would go down to Championship and they would suffer some big consequences. So with that example given, I'm going to take that concept and apply it to college football and college football 25. Now, I do know that there has been a video like this. Is not the first video on this idea. Obviously, this concept has been done time and time before, but I wanted to do it on my channel because I've always thought of it as an interesting idea to do it in American sports, and college football is a very interesting one to try it on. So we're going to do it here. Every team has, or every conference has their big leagues, obviously, and then their minor league system that they would send teams down to. So let's take the Big Ten, for example. The Big Ten, if a team like Rutgers or Maryland or Northwestern or Purdue or whoever may be bad at the time, if they finish in the bottom half of the Big Ten or the bottom of the Big Ten, they will go down to the MAC, the Mid-American Conference. And a team or two from the MAC who dominate and win the MAC will go up to the Big Ten for the next season, and they'll play Big Ten football. So that's kind of how we're going to do it. So every conference has their lower league that they will go to. So the Big Ten and the MAC are connected. The SEC and the Sun Belt are connected. The Big 12 and Conference USA are connected. The ACC and the AAC are connected. And finally, I have revived the Pac-12, and I've given them back, I've reverted them back to a similar point where they were before they just exploded and everybody left. I've given them back Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA, a bunch of different teams that were from the Big Ten who moved from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten recently. I moved them back to the Pac-12 to make this video happen. Now, obviously, I could do this again and not have the Pac-12 involved, but it just makes more sense. It makes it the things more even, and when the Pac-12 is relevant and has all these big teams in it. So the Pac-12 will have the Mountain West as their lower tier team that they can go in between from. There are no independent teams. The 3 independent teams in College Football 25 are Notre Dame, UConn, and UMass, right? I'm pretty sure UMass is independent. I'm pretty sure. I moved UMass to the MAC because UMass, I'm pretty sure, is moving to the MAC really, really soon, whether like 2025 or 2026. They're moving to the MAC. Notre Dame and UConn got put in the ACC because Notre Dame, every other sport except for basketball plays, or except for football, plays ACC schedule. And UConn I just put there because I didn't have anywhere else to put them. So I don't even, do they play ACC basketball? They might. I don't even know. I think they play, I think there's a conference in basketball that is not in football that they play in. Same thing with like Gonzaga or something. I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They're in the ACC. So every big conference has their little conference that they will go, the teams will shift around from. I think we'll simulate, and this is going to be purely simulation. I think we're going to simulate maybe 5 seasons and see what the landscape of college football looks like. So I'm very excited. I'm controlling the Buckeyes, but I'm not controlling the Buckeyes. Everything is going to be on automated. Recruiting's on auto. Simulation, obviously, we're not going to be playing any games or anything. We're just going to be kind of overviewing the landscape of college football from a bird's eye perspective. I just had to pick a team, so I just picked the Buckeyes because they're my favorite team. So we're not going to be doing anything with recruiting or anything like that. It's all on auto, everything like that. Although coaching, firing is not on. For us at least, so we can't get fired because that would ruin the concept of the video. So no control of any teams. We're just going to be an outside perspective looking in on the landscape of college football over these next 5 or so years and see who gets moved up, who gets moved down. Are there going to be any shocking teams that move up or down? Because we know that through other simulations that we've done in the past and other people have done in the past, there's some big teams that kind of fall off after a couple of years in College Football 25 simulation, Ohio State being one of them. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Do these teams go to the MAC or whatever conference their conference is connected to? Or what? I'm very curious to see. So if you go on to enjoy this video, make sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. And if you're curious and want to see any other kind of experimental, fun little videos, one-off videos like this, leave them down below in the comments. Let me know, and I will give them a shot in the future. It doesn't have to be just College Football 25. It could be Madden as well, but I know Madden's kind of in a weird spot right now. So let me know what you want to see, and I will do it down below in the comments. And let's get into promotion relegation with College Football 25. I'm very excited to see how this goes. Okay, we are here in week 1 of 2024. Everything's on automatic. Nothing is controlled by me. This is what the conferences look like. I mentioned that I changed the Pac-12, so we will go and talk about the Pac-12 right off the bat. So I added BYU, Oregon, Stanford, UCLA, USC, Utah, Washington, all back to the Pac-12 so that they can at least stand a chance, and it makes it more even. So as I mentioned, the Big Ten, and I moved those teams back from the Big Ten, so the Big Ten's a little bit smaller now. The Big Ten and the MAC will play, so there's a possibility that some of these MAC teams, well, there's a guarantee that some of these MAC teams will play Big Ten football next year. The Big 12 is playing with Conference USA, right? Is that what I said? There it is, Conference USA. So these teams will get to move up and down. The ACC is playing with the AAC, which is the American Conference. So those teams, and I tried to do this based on like geographic spots, so it would make sense. That's why I moved some of the Pac-12 teams from the Big Ten back over to the Pac-12. That's one of the reasons. But the ACC and the American the ACC doesn't have a conference that's kind of geographically close. So I just kind of chose the American because there was no other option. And then like I said, there's no independence this year, or in this hypothetical video, because the Notre Dame and UConn are now in the ACC, and UMass is in the MAC. And then who was the other one I haven't talked about? Oh yeah, that's right. The Pac-12 and the Mountain West are connected, and then obviously the SEC and the Sun Belt are connected. So those are your different conferences and their connections to them. So we're gonna simulate year number 1. We don't really care about like Heisen Watch or anything. That's not the point of the video. The point of the video is to see which teams go up or go down. So I'm going to simulate year number 1, and we're going to see how everybody does around the league or around the country, and get our first indications of who's moving up and who's moving down. More importantly, that's going to be pretty big. So let's simulate year number 1, and I'll catch back up with you when we have the results. Okay, so we've gotten to the bye week of week 15. We'll simulate one more week to conference championship week, and I do know that the Buckeyes are in the conference championship because when I loaded into week 15, it said that we were playing in it, and we are playing against Purdue. So Purdue has saved themselves. They are not playing in the they're not going to be moving down to the MAC, basically, is what I was thinking. Who did the Buckeyes lose to this year? They lost to Oregon, who was the number 1 team in the country. And it looks like we didn't play Michigan this year. That's actually insane. And I think it's because the schedule's all messed up. Yeah, the schedule's all messed up. And it's because all the teams that I removed from the Big Ten, like USC, Washington, UCLA, USC, all those teams that I moved from the Big Ten back to the Pac-12 kind of just messed up the schedule. So it looks like we didn't even play Michigan this year, which, let's be honest, is probably a good thing for Buckeye fans. So most of the schedule is pretty much correct, but we didn't play, obviously don't play Army or Arizona or Oklahoma State, but we didn't play Michigan this year, which is kind of crazy. So let's go around the league and see who's potentially moving up and moving down. So in the ACC, Miami went undefeated. Clemson is safe. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom 2 teams from each conference, both up and down. So the 2 bottom teams from the ACC will be California and Virginia moving to the American next year. That's crazy. Okay. So those 2 teams are going to be moving to the ACC. Who's moving up? Tulane and Tulsa are going to move up most likely. Obviously, it'll depend on who wins the conference, for sure, as guaranteeing one of them. But Tulane and Tulsa most likely are going to be moving up to the ACC. What about in the Big 12? Baylor's safe. Houston and most likely Arizona State are moving down. Okay, that's kind of crazy. What about in Conference USA? Florida International and Western Kentucky are moving up to the ACC or to the Big 12. That's funny. I like that a lot. The Big 10, we have Iowa and Wisconsin. What? Oh, we already have some big teams moving down to the MAC, and the MAC is getting, or the Big 10 is getting most likely Akron and Toledo. Oh, this is already out of control. This is already out of control. Akron and Toledo are most likely going to be Big Ten teams next year. The Pac-12 is losing Washington and UCLA most likely. Although Stanford's record was worse than these 2 teams, but they're at the bottom 2. That's just how it's been ordered. So they unfortunately get to move down most likely. And moving up, Boise State and Fresno State most definitely are. Both of them are moving up because they're both 10 and 2. Everybody else is pretty much out of the competition. So some crazy movement so far, but maybe the most interesting one is the SEC. So we are losing. Oh, I thought Oklahoma was going to be down there for a second. South Carolina and Vanderbilt, Arkansas, excuse me. These 2 teams are tied with the exact same record, but South Carolina is ranked below Vanderbilt, so South Carolina unfortunately gets to move down along with Arkansas. Then we have moving up from the Sun Belt, Louisiana and App State. Oh, this is already getting out of control, but these aren't official. At least the ones moving up aren't official until we simulate through conference championship week to see who's guaranteed to move up, who wins all the conference championships and stuff. So if you're curious about who won the Heisman, I guess we'll take a look. It is most likely going to be Jalen Milroe, but Will Howard is probably going to finish second. Will Howard almost had it. He almost had the Heisman. That would have been pretty nice. And if you're curious about the CFP bracket, I guess we'll show it. Buckeyes are in, at least right now. They got to take care of Purdue, but at least they're in right now. Ole Miss, Oregon, Miami. Then you got Tennessee, Clemson, Baylor, Kansas State, Texas A&M, Penn State, Purdue, and Boise State, but most likely Purdue will be out if they lose this game to the Buckeyes. I think the Buckeyes would still be able to get in, even if they lose this game, but I don't know for sure. It's hard to say. I guess we'll find out as we get a 4-star recruit. Good for us. Like I said, our recruiting's been on automatic all simulation so far. So, and it looks like we're getting some fireworks. So the Buckeyes have won the Big Ten championship. So I mean, they were in threat of moving down anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But they are the Big Ten champions here in year number 1. Will Howard gets the Player of the Week in the Big Ten, but there was only 2 Big Ten teams playing. He also gets the Player of the Year award. Good for Will Howard. I mean, he did finish second in the Heisman. And he doesn't. He wins the Heisman. Will Howard stole it from Jalen Milroe. Oh my God, that's crazy. I mean, it doesn't affect us at all, but it's awesome to see a Buckeye win the Heisman. 31 touchdowns, 1 interception, 3,200 yards, and Will Howard wins the Heisman. That makes me happy. Makes me real warm and fuzzy inside. The Johnny Unitas golden arm as well for Will Howard. Congratulations. He also gets best quarterback. I mean, we might be seeing the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft right there with Will Howard. That's pretty crazy that he gets the freaking Heisman. I thought Jalen Milroe had it in the bag. Oh, we blew out Purdue. We killed Purdue. 44-17. That's crazy. All right, so we're not going to take a look at like early national signing day or anything because that doesn't really matter. I guess we'll take a look at like top classes around the country because that could have an impact later on in the simulation. But let's take a look at the official conference standings. Now that everything's done, because obviously the playoffs don't matter for people going up or down. So who is going down for the ACC officially? It'll be California and Virginia. We knew that. Who's going up from the American? Tulane and Tulsa are guaranteed to go up. I think Tulane won the conference. So they are moving up. So Tulane and Tulsa will move up in conference realignment next year to the ACC. In the Big 12, we already saw that Houston and Arizona State will move down. Houston arguably deserves to move down. And then from Conference USA, Western Kentucky and Florida International will move up. Western Kentucky guaranteed because it looks like they won their conference. In the Big Ten, we know that it's going to be Iowa and Wisconsin. But who is moving up from the MAC? It is Toledo and Akron. Wow. Okay. In the Pac-12, Oregon is safe. I was reading the opposite way. Washington and UCLA will move down to the Mountain West. Who's moving up? Boise State and Fresno State. Looks like Boise State won the conference, so they were guaranteed anyway. And the final one, the SEC we saw was South Carolina and Arkansas. They're moving down. In the Sun Belt, it'll be Louisiana and App State. So all those things that we knew pretty much happened. So some guarantees. That is pretty fun to see. And I'm actually going to take a picture of these so I don't forget the standings. So just hold on really quickly as I snag a couple of pictures for just me in the off season so I can remember who's going up and who's going down. So there's the ACC. Then in the American, it's going to be Tulane and Tulsa. In the Big 12, we're moving down Arizona State and Houston. Big 10 is moving down Iowa and Wisconsin. Western Kentucky, Florida International. Toledo and Akron. Boise State, Fresno State. Washington, UCLA. Then we've got South Carolina, Arkansas, and then Louisiana. Okay, perfect. So we snag a couple pictures just for posterity reasons, so I don't forget. And we can get to conference realignment so we can switch everything up. Although, actually, you know what? Let's take a look at all the other stuff that I wanted to see. So, oh, the way I didn't even look. I kind of skipped out of it before. I wasn't really paying attention. So the official bracket is Ohio State, Oregon, Clemson, Boise State, with Tennessee, Miami, Baylor, Penn State, Purdue, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M, Kansas State. So Purdue does, in fact, stay in the college football playoffs, even though they lost the Big Ten championship, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so it looks like we got a bunch of 5 stars, at least 2, and we got the number 4 quarterback in the country. That's pretty awesome. So the top classes in the country, Georgia stays at number 1, 22 4 stars. Alabama signed 6 5 stars this recruiting class. That's kind of crazy. Very, very interesting. The Buckeyes are not anywhere to be seen right now, but they are safe because they're in. They won the Big Ten. They are the number 1 team in the college football playoffs. So obviously they're safe. There they are. They're number 66 in the country with 6 recruits committed. I said it's on auto recruit, so it's not my fault. It's whatever they want to do. But this is one of the reasons why Ohio State always falls off in simulation, because they just, for some reason, they don't recruit very well in simulation. So some of the worst teams in college football in recruiting, Ohio, which hurts me because I'm doing a high dynasty right now, season by or video, 1 season per video kind of thing. North Carolina only has 2 commits so far. Wow. Okay. Michigan State at the bottom, Pittsburgh at the bottom, some big name teams down here at the bottom. Kansas, we could be seeing some big-time shakeups in the next couple of years. North Carolina could be playing in Division II football pretty soon. So that's kind of where we stand in recruiting, and obviously we can simulate a couple of weeks into the future and see who's playing in the college football playoffs and all that kind of good stuff. Very, very curious. Obviously, transfer portal stuff has big implications as well. It looks like we're taking on Penn State in the Rose Bowl. Great. I love Penn State. Just absolutely love them so much. Can we beat Penn State? It'd make my day. It would literally make my day if I could beat Penn State. And we have won. We got fireworks. Yes. We win the Rose Bowl. Awesome. Beat Penn State, so we're playing in the second round. I mean, we have the Heisman winner. We have Will Howard on the team. You'd expect him to play pretty well. We're taking on Miami. 1 versus 4 in the semifinals. Okay. 1 versus 4 in the semis. Who is going to win? Obviously, this is reminiscent of the 2002 championship that the Buckeyes beat the Hurricanes back in the day. Cody Simon gets Big Ten player of the Week, but that is not a good sign. It sounds like we might have lost because there's no fireworks for winning the... Yeah, we lost. Miami and Oregon are playing in the college football playoffs, or the championship game. So we lost 32-21 to Miami. Clemson loses 39-21 to Oregon. And it's going to be Oregon versus Miami. I mean, Oregon probably deserves it. They beat us. They were our one loss this year. So, to be fair, I mean, it's probably them that deserves it. And I'm just going through and adding some recruiting stuff to Brian Burnside, who is technically Ryan Day, I guess, if you want to think about it like that. All right, who's going to be the national championship for year number 1 of this simulation? It will be, I'll have to find out, it will be Miami. They beat Oregon, and the Hurricanes have got back on top. They are now the champions. They're the college football champions. So congratulations to everybody from Miami. They get the job done. I don't think we need to take any other notes down. I think we have everything that we need to do. I took the pictures for the standings, so we are good to go for end of season recap and all this kind of stuff. Obviously, we're not going to care about... we could take a little peek at players leaving just to see who's leaving. Quinshawn wants to go to the draft. Understandable. We cannot let Jeremiah Smith go, that's for sure. Persuade him to stay. Jeremiah is coming back, thank you. And Julian Sayin? Wow, Julian Sayin is gone. He's going to be transferring somewhere else. Obviously, a lot of different Buckeyes are graduating or going to the NFL draft, as you would expect. At least we got Jeremiah Smith back. That was probably one of the more important ones. I'll persuade Quinshawn. No, he's going to go to the draft. That's obvious. But we got Jeremiah Smith back. That's pretty cool. I don't know why. At least Caleb Downs wasn't one of the... Usually Caleb Downs is one of the guys that always transfers in simulation for some reason. I don't know why. How did they do in the draft, though? We had Quinshawn going round 1 along with Emeka Ibuka. Travion and Donovan Jackson along with Josh Simmons, Jack Sawyer, and Tyleek Williams go round 2. Denzel Burke goes round 3. Will Howard goes round 4. And Lathan Ransom goes round 7. That's pretty accurate how I see this actually going in real. Although I don't think Quinshawn goes round 1, maybe late round 1. But I could certainly see Emeka going round 1 for sure. Donovan Jackson and Josh Simmons probably go round 1. Although Josh Simmons got hurt, so maybe not. That probably hurts him a little bit. Denzel, I could see him going round 3. Although maybe round 2. You never know. And Will Howard probably goes around round 4. And obviously we're not going to take care of anything here because this is all in auto. The transfer portal is open. I am curious to see where Julian Sayin is going to go. He is where is he at? He's not the number 1 player in the transfer portal? I thought for sure he would be. Oh, there's some names that I recognize on here, obviously. He's not even the number 1 quarterback on here. Where is Julian Sayin? Can I not see him? I guess I can't see him because he's not a 5-star prospect. There's Aiden Childs from Michigan State. I don't know. I don't know where Julian Sayin is, but we're going to keep simulating and moving on to get to conference realignment so that we can make sure everything is up to snuff. We get some fireworks here. Master Motivator has been unlocked for Ryan Day. That's pretty good. Okay, I think I'm going to skip to conference realignment now, and we will get everything sorted. Although, you know what? I'll keep simulating here because we'll wrap up with official signing day, I guess. And Upton Stout, that's quite the name. Couple 4 stars. Xavier Scott replacing Denzel Burke. That's good to see. All right, we're getting some big-time commitments. Always nice. We'll show the official recruiting top classes and everything like that. Going for a lot of corners, it looks like. Interesting. All right, here's National Signing Day. So we'll see the official top classes. It ends up being Alabama. They ended up with 7 5-stars. So I don't think we're going to be seeing Alabama fall down the SEC pretty or in the near future. That's for sure. Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, all the top teams you would expect to be up here are up here. We finished. Any outliers? NC State's kind of a weird one to be in the top 20 or top 25, I guess. Iowa, even though they're going to be moving down, they did get a 5-star. We finished with the 36th best class in the country. Tulane's up here in the top 50. New Mexico finishes with the worst class in the country this year. Ohio actually did not finish with the worst class. Good for them. There are some names you would expect. It looks like North Carolina got their crap together and figured it out. Pittsburgh still finishes bottom half. Michigan State's down here. Indiana's down here in the bottom half of the league and all this kind of stuff. So there's some names down there, notable names that you wouldn't expect really to be down there. But we will get to conference realignment, all that stuff. Ooh, we get another level up. That's good to see. Nice, nice, nice. Training results, don't care. Let's get to conference realignment, the only thing that matters at this point. And here we, oh yeah, custom conferences. Okay, so we'll get custom conferences sorted. So we got Master Motivator unlocked, but I gotta buy it first, I guess. So let's do that, maybe? No, let's keep working on Recruiter. We got to get this Recruiter figured out, Elite Recruiter thing figured out. So let's do that. And then custom conferences. So here we go. I'm going to go and get this all sorted, and I'll come back to you when it's all finished and we can have a little look-see before we simulate to the start of Season 2. Okay, I've got everything figured out, and the landscape of college football has been altered forever. California and Virginia have moved from the ACC to the American, and then obviously we have Tulsa and Tulane moving up to the ACC to the Big Time. Then we have the Big Ten, where Akron and Toledo go up to the Big Ten. They're going to have some tough competition. And in the MAC, we had Iowa and Wisconsin fall down, unfortunately. In the Big 12, we get Western Kentucky and FIU moving up. In Conference USA, Arizona State and Houston move down to the Conference USA. No independence, obviously. Mid-American, we talked about. Mountain West, we had Washington, unfortunately, and UCLA moved down to the Mountain West. Pac-12, they get an addition of Boise State and Fresno State. And then maybe the most interesting one, App State and Louisiana are in the Big Time. They're in the SEC. And Arkansas and South Carolina are now in the Sun Belt. Very interesting, but this is the new landscape of college football for this season. How will those conferences adjust? How will those teams get to know their new conferences? Is going to be different. That is for sure. It is going to be interesting to see, and very interesting to see how the scheduling shapes up for everybody. So our custom schedule, I'm not going to change it. It's going to be whatever I load in here is whatever we get. And it looks like we have, I got to add more Big Ten games. We have too many non-conference games. So next season, I'm going to add more Big Ten games because we're still not playing Michigan for some reason. I don't know why that's not the case. But looks like we don't play any of the new Big Ten teams. We only play 4 Big Ten games this year. Okay, it is what it is. I'm not going to change the schedule because obviously I can't add Big Ten teams. But the conference looks a lot different now. It's very, very interesting. I'm very curious to see if, like, Iowa and Wisconsin... Oh, we get a 4-star right off the bat. Good job. I'm very curious to see if Iowa and Wisconsin are at the top of their standings by the end of the season. Like, are we going to have the same teams move back up? Is that going to be how it works? I don't know. I'm very curious to see. That's what the simulation's all about. So the ACC got some new teams. Tulsa and Tulane. The American is California and Virginia. Are they going to dominate the American, or are they just really, really bad? I'm very curious to see how this goes. I would assume the 2 teams that moved into the SEC are not going to do very well, but that's just me. That's just my opinion. But we're going to simulate year number 2 of the simulation and see if there's any changes, any other teams move down. I'd love to see, like, we get to the end of the simulation, we have like 4 or 5 teams that started up in a big conference that end in a lower conference and they can never get back up. That'd be pretty interesting to see. But we're going to simulate year number 2, see where everything falls. And if you're curious about who the Buckeye quarterback is at this point, since Will Howard's gone and Julian Sayin transferred, it is going to be Devin Brown, and then it's going to be, maybe this freshman Jose Ortega? Possibly. Or it could be Aaron Nolan, it could be Lincoln Keinholz. It could be a lot of different people, but we kept Jeremiah Smith, which is the main thing, and we kept Caleb Downs, which is also a main thing. So we'll see where everything falls, and we will simulate to the end of Season 2. I'll probably simulate to Week 15 like I did last time, and we'll see where the standings are here in year number 2. We made it to Week 15 of year number 2 of the sim. Looks like the Buckeyes went 10-2. I don't know if that's good enough to play in the conference championship or not. It looks like, okay, so the ACC, Florida State and NC State, at the top. At the bottom, Tulsa, unfortunately, looks like they might be going right back down, but Tulane will not be. It's most likely going to be Pittsburgh who goes down. Very interesting. In the American, California and Virginia both don't go back up. It's going to be Charlotte and Rice. Okay. In the Big 12, we've got Florida International, unfortunately, going down, but they're not taking Western Kentucky down with them. It's going to be Kansas moving down. In the Conference USA, Arizona State and Houston will get back up. So that was one of the ones I thought would happen. Even though Houston had such a bad year last year, they do, in fact, get to move back up to the Big 12. So out of the 3 conferences that were the 2 conferences that we checked so far, only one of them has both their teams going back up. In the Big 10, the Buckeyes aren't going to play in the conference championship game, unfortunately. But it'll be Penn State and Northwestern moving down. Oh my God, Akron and Toledo both finished better in the conference than Northwestern and Penn State. Penn State just played in the College Bowl playoffs this year. They were in the Rose Bowl against us. And they will move down to the MAC next year. And in the MAC, it'll be Ball State and Iowa. So Wisconsin, unfortunately, does not get to go up. But Iowa comes back up along with Ball State. That's crazy. Penn State's going down to the MAC. That makes me so happy. In the Pac-12, it looks like it'll be Oregon State and Washington State going down. And then we will have UCLA and Hawaii. Let's go, Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors. Okay. So we don't see both teams moving up. UCLA gets to go back up, but Washington stays down. Very interesting. In the SEC, App State finished 4-4 in the conference? What is this? They're not moving down. It's going to be Auburn and Missouri. Oh, this is getting out of control. And in the Sun Belt, Arkansas moves back and Old Dominion will move up. So South Carolina in the Sun Belt finished 4-6. Just let that sink in for a little bit. Arkansas gets moved up. So there was only one conference. It was the Conference USA, where both teams that dropped the previous year will be back up in their original conference for year number 3. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But let's simulate through all of this stuff like we did last year, because obviously the Buckeyes aren't playing in the championship game this year. Talia McQueen, what a name. That's a pretty good name. He's a 5-star wide receiver. Hopefully he can help the Buckeyes get back to the playoffs. We got our contract extended. That's not the big deal that we care about. And we will simulate, and I will get my camera ready so I can take pictures officially of who is moving where. And we'll take a look at all the other stuff we took a look at before, like the Heisman. And oh, never mind. The Heisman is Miller Moss this year. The senior quarterback from USC, he wins the Heisman. Good for him. And it'll be Ohio State versus Boston College in the College Football Playoff. So the Buckeyes do make the College Football Playoff, even though they missed out on the Big Ten Championship. All right, let's take a look at the standings to get the official rankings. We kind of know already who's going where, but in the ACC, it will be Pittsburgh and Tulsa going down. That's kind of crazy. And they will go down for Rice and Charlotte. That will come up. In the Big 12, it'll be Florida International and Kansas, which is actually insane. And in Conference USA, it'll be Arizona and Houston. In the Big 10, it will be Northwestern and Penn State, which still blows my mind. And in the MAC, Ball State and Iowa. In the Pac-12, it'll be Oregon State and Washington State. Moving down and moving up, UCLA gets to come back up along with our dynasty team, Hawaii. That's pretty cool. And then in the SEC, Auburn and LSU was very close. Auburn and Missouri go down, and coming up is Arkansas, who gets to come back up along with Old Dominion. So that is where we stand in terms of the new and old divisions or teams moving up and down. So the Heisman winner we saw was Miller Moss, but it looks like he had, actually, Jay Fair, his wide receiver, was ahead of him, but it looks like they gave it to Miller Moss. It is a quarterback award, isn't it? Arkansas's quarterback, even though he was playing in a lower league, he got third in the Heisman. That's pretty cool. So those are your Heisman finalists. Here is your CFP bracket, if you care. It is USC, Texas Tech, Rice, and Illinois. Then you got Georgia, Kansas State, Oregon, Michigan, Alabama, Syracuse, and then Boston College and Ohio State. Okay. Some very fun things are happening. Very, very fun things. Let's simulate the first round of the college football playoffs here in year number 2. Who is going to move on? I don't think it's us. I think we might have lost to Boston College. No, we get some fireworks. Okay. So we move on past Boston College. We're going to the second round. Good for the Buckeyes. That's a big win. Devin Brown gets the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. No surprise there. We take on Texas Tech in the Sugar Bowl. Okay. It's a tough matchup. Very, very tough matchup. And we get Scheme Guru unlocked. That's good for Ryan Day. Very, very good for Ryan Day. All right. Can we beat Texas Tech in the Sugar Bowl? What's it going to happen here? Fireworks? Fireworks! We win the semifinal playoff, or the quarterfinal playoff game. We play in the semifinals against, Sonny Styles, the Defensive Player of the Week, against Alabama in the Fiesta Bowl. That is quite the matchup. Obviously, a former college football championship game from 2020 that the Buckeyes unfortunately did not win. We are one game away from a playoff championship appearance. Are we going to see fireworks for the third time? Jason Moore is the Defensive Player of the Week. Jason Moore is the National Defensive Player of the Week. Brandon Inniss is the Offensive Player of the Week. But there's no fireworks. Alabama beat us 28-21. So Alabama will play Kansas State, it looked like. Yeah, Kansas State, who beat USC in their semifinal round. We got close. Closer than we did last year, I think, right? No, because we played in the semifinal again last year. That's right. Because we won the Rose Bowl against Penn State, but lost. Okay, that makes sense. So we got to the same spot and couldn't win again. Unfortunate, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the realignment. And I do have to remember to change how many Big Ten games are scheduled because there's not enough, I don't think. So let's get to... Wait, who won the... Oh, I might have forgot to check that. I didn't see who won. It might have been Kansas State who won it, which would be kind of crazy if they did. So can I... Oh, I can't see. Oh, that sucks. I apologize. I saw purple on the screen, so it might have been Kansas State that won. Players leaving. Cedric Alexander wants to leave for playing style. He will come back. That's the only guy that we have to bring back. We're losing a lot of players on offense, including our starting quarterback, Devin Brown, Carson Hinsman, some big names on the offensive line. What about defense? C.J. Hicks, Igbinosun. Ooh, there's some big names on the defense that are leaving as well. All right. We move on. We move on to hopefully conference realignment pretty soon. I've got my schedule or my pictures ready to go when we get there. I'm glad that we've been able to get everybody back that we wanted to get back. Sonny Styles goes round 2 along with Igbinosun. Shabala, I think it's Shabala, right? Shabola? I don't know how to say his name. Upton Stout goes in round 7. Okay, yada, yada, yada. We don't care. We do not care. We'll get to official second national signing day, and then we'll take a look at the top classes again. Hopefully the Buckeyes had a good recruiting class. I know we got a 5-star receiver because they showed us. So we'll see what other kind of big-time stars are coming to Columbus, Ohio. Looking like a bunch of 4-stars might be in the works. We'll see if they can finish that off. Finish off some of these high schoolers. 5-star running back Dexter Griffin chooses to come. 4-star left tackle. That's big. Another 4-star running back. Another running back. Going heavy on the running backs, it looks like. I mean, we did lose out on Quinshawn and Travion a couple years ago. They both left, both graduated, so I guess replenishing that. And another quarterback, this time it's a 4-star. Okay, so that's going to help the overall class. We'll see official National Signing Day. Where is everybody at? Where did we finish? We finished Oregon with the number 1 class. We're number 13. We can see it poking up at the very bottom of the screen there. Oregon finishes with 5 5-stars. They're the number 1 class in the country. We get number 13. We finished with 2 5-stars, 13 3-star, or 13 4-stars, excuse me. Right above Michigan. That's a win. No 5-stars for Michigan. Haha. Sucks to suck. All right, some of the bad teams. The worst team in college football this year was Nevada in terms of recruiting. Then South Alabama, Kent State. Any big-time teams down here at the bottom? Hawaii, who is moving up, they might be moving back down. They did not have a good recruiting class this year. North Carolina down here in the 110s. Indiana's down here. Yeah, there's some teams that shouldn't be down there that are down there. And now we will get to the second round of realignment. Some teams get to come back up, but some teams have to play down in the lower conference for a second season. Very interesting. Training results, we do not care. We do not care. Let's get up to conference realignment. Here we are, custom conferences. I'm going to go and get this sorted for year number 3, and I'll bring you guys back in when it's done. Okay, all finished up. We added the new teams to their new conferences. Pitt is now in the AAC, along with Tulsa again. The ACC now has Charlotte. It has Tulane still. Who was the other team that got moved up? Rice. There it is, Rice. The Big Ten has Akron. Iowa's back up. Toledo's up here. And Ball State is up here. That's crazy. No more Penn State in the Big Ten is actually wild. Wow. The Big 12 gets Arizona State back, so their rivalry can go back up to the Big 12. They also get Houston back up because these were the 2 teams that got moved down originally. They come back up. Conference USA gets Kansas and FIU again. The MAC gets Penn State and Northwestern. Feels really weird to be down here, along with Wisconsin. The MAC is becoming a powerhouse, if you think about it. Then in the Pac-12, we get UCLA back up along with Hawaii, and the Mountain West gets Washington State and Oregon State. So at least these guys can have their Washington State rivalry, but it's now in the Mountain West instead of the Pac-12. Then you got the SEC, which might be the most hilarious one, which App State survives, but we add, and Louisiana survived too. Both of these teams survive, which I did not expect. Arkansas comes back up along with, who's the new team that comes up? Where's Old Dominion? I should have added Old Dominion, right? Oh, no, oops, I messed up. That's my bad. Old Dominion is the team that moves up. Now they're, okay, perfect. I was wondering why this was not even. Old Dominion does move. I must have forgot to add them. Old Dominion moves up along with Arkansas, but this SEC is getting weird, and Auburn now plays in the Sun Belt along with South Carolina still. So that's pretty, or South Carolina, yeah, still, because Missouri's down here now. So this is kind of crazy. And I will make sure that everybody has enough conference games. So they're playing 8 conference games in the AAC. The ACC, they're playing 8. The Big Ten needs to play more. So they're going to play, you know what? They'll play 8 as well. Everybody's going to play 8. That way everything's even. Everything's even, and we can all get the same amount of results. So everybody's going to play 8 conference games. Make sure that's everything for everybody. They need to play, oops, that's 4. I can count. There we go. They play 8. They're playing 8. And they are playing 10 because they have East and West. All right, perfect. So now everything should be good. The Big Ten finally has enough games now, and we can simulate to year number 3. Things are getting pretty crazy. Luckily, the Buckeyes have not gone down yet. If the Buckeyes slip up, I'm going to be very sad if they have to play MAC conference football at any point. That's going to be pretty crazy. We will upgrade these skills just because we'll just keep going into recruiter. I've been going, oh, look at that. We have elite recruiter unlocked. That's pretty awesome. I've never had that unlocked before. Let's go DB, and then we'll go D-line, I guess. Whatever. Sure, why not? Okay. So let's take a look at the schedule before we simulate to year number 3. It has Maryland, Iowa, Purdue, Nebraska, Akron, Minnesota, and Toledo. Still no Michigan game for some reason. I don't know what the scheduling is going on here, but still no Michigan game. But at least we have a lot more conference games. So that way we can have a better sample size and Ball State at the beginning of the season is a conference game. I forgot about that. So at least we have that. Although, can I schedule? I mean, they got to play Michigan, right? And that just has to happen. So I can't schedule them week 10. I mean, I can schedule them week 0. That could be pretty fun. We gotta play Michigan at some point. Where's Michigan at? Michigan's booked every single week. Are you serious? Are they scared? They're dodging us? They scared? I don't see that ugly yellow M anywhere. I think they might be dodging us. They don't have any room to play us. Wow, scared. They're scared. That's crazy. Okay, it is what it is. That's our schedule. We will move on to year number 3 of the simulation. I'm very interested to see. Oh, look at that. 4-star commits already. And a 4-star, 2 left tackles. That's kind of awesome. That's always nice. All right, I'm very, very interested to see how these conferences go now. I mean, there are some very interesting teams in each of these conferences. I think the most interesting one might be the SEC and the Sun Belt, because you've got Auburn, you've got Missouri, and South Carolina. 3 SEC schools all in the Sun Belt now. Can App State hold their own again? I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting to see, but we are going to simulate year number 3 of this video, and we will see if anything interesting else happens or anything crazy happens, because things have already gotten pretty wild. We make it to Conference Championship week again for year number 3, and as I was fearing at the start of this video, the Buckeyes are starting to slip a little bit. It's been a steady decline down. Now we're 9-3. Again, not playing in the Conference Championship. I'm getting a little bit worried that the Buckeyes at the very end of this video might be in the MAC. I hope not. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm getting a little scared. Little bit scared at what's happening right now. So let's take a look. Where's the landscape of the league? So NC State leads the ACC. Who's going down? I see Miami down there, but they're not down. It's going to be Duke and Louisville. Pretty much clearly the 2 teams moving down. Tulane survives again. Rice survives. All of the teams that moved up survive. It's going to be 2 more actual original ACC teams that move down again. I thought Miami might have fallen down because they were the champions in year number 1. That's pretty crazy. American, UAB, and Pittsburgh will return. UAB's the number 5 team. They went 12-0, 8-0 in the conference. That's crazy. Big 12, Kansas State wins it. They were the champions last year, so it makes sense. Western Kentucky, unfortunately, cannot keep pace again, and Texas Tech will fall down. And in the Conference USA, UTEP and New Mexico State will move up. Kansas went 2-6 in the conference. Come on, Kansas. In the Big Ten, Purdue wins it. Nebraska finished 2nd. We finished 3rd. Oh no, Akron goes down. And then Iowa lost every single game in the conference. They don't deserve to be up here. They were up in year 1, down in year 2, back up in year 3, and they'll be back down again in year 4. It has been a wild ride for Iowa fans. you'd have to put me on like anesthesia or something to keep me loopy, because if I was an Iowa fan, that'd be such a wild trip to be an Iowa fan. Toledo stays up though. Good for Toledo. Then you've got in the MAC, Northwestern will come back up along with Central Michigan. Penn State will stay in the MAC for another year along with Wisconsin. Wisconsin went down in year 1 and they can't figure out how to get back up. Oh my God, but Northwestern will come up. That's out of all 3 of the teams, original Big Ten teams that went down to the MAC, Northwestern's not the one that I thought would be right back up. I thought it'd be Penn State for sure, but it'll be Central Michigan playing Big Ten football next year along with Northwestern. In the Pac-12, Hawaii, no, the Rainbow Warriors, and Fresno State, the 2 teams that went up, are coming right back down. And in the Mountain West, Oregon State and Utah State. So Washington can't get back up, but Oregon State goes right back up, so good for them. Then you've got the SEC. You've got... Oh, it finally came back to bite them. Louisiana and App State. App State survived for a way longer period than I thought. I thought they'd go up and right back down, but they survived for a year. But it finally caught up to them. It'll be Louisiana and App State going right back down. Old Dominion, they survive. Who's coming back up? Please tell me it's not any of the 3 teams that came down. No, Auburn gets back up. They went undefeated in the league, or in the whole schedule, and then obviously in the conference. And South Alabama will also join them. Missouri and where are they at? South Carolina. There they are. I had to look for them. They went 3-7 in the conference. So Missouri and South Carolina stay down, but Auburn does get to come back up. Man, I was hoping to be 2 fresh teams, but there are already some very interesting movements going around in the standings here in year number 3. I have a very good feeling that year number 5, the final year, will be completely different. Like, nothing will look the same, pretty much. Nothing will look the same by year 5. Oh, man, this is out of control. This is out of control. Nick Bermudez, the quarterback of the defending national champion Kansas State Wildcats, wins the Heisman. 51 touchdowns. Good for him. Good for him. And we somehow make it to the college football playoffs for the 3rd straight year. We are the final seed going up against UAB. Talk about a reverse of fortunes. That's kind of wild that we're flipped in that way, but here we are, and we will take our pictures officially for the different conference alignments. So it'll be Duke and Louisville in the AAC, going up to the ACC, UAB and Pittsburgh. So we're playing UAB. They get to move up next year. In the Big 12, it'll be Western Kentucky and Texas Tech. Then in the Conference USA, it'll be UTEP and New Mexico State. In the Big 10, it'll be Akron and Iowa. Unfortunately for Iowa fans. In the MAC, it'll be Central Michigan and Penn State. Central Michigan won the conference. Good for them. Pac-12, it'll be Hawaii and Fresno State. And then in the Mountain West, it'll be Oregon State, Utah State. SEC, it is, unfortunately, for all those Louisiana and App State fans, they're going right back down. And in the Sun Belt, Auburn comes right back up. All right, so they're no fun. The no fun league. Very, very cool. Like to see all the different changes and stuff. It's pretty fun. The Heisman winner we saw was the Kansas State quarterback. Alonzo Barnett actually transferred to NC State, but he doesn't win the Heisman, unfortunately. LSU's quarterback was right there. Oklahoma State's got a couple guys in the way, but they didn't win it. It went to Kansas State's quarterback. And here's the CFP bracket if you're curious. NC State, Oklahoma, Kansas State, and Purdue are all your quarterfinal teams, or your bye week teams. Then you got us and UAB, Georgia, LSU, UCLA, Oregon, and Boston College and Clemson, who make the college football playoffs. Are we going to be one and done? Are we going to be fraudulent here in the college football playoffs? Do we get to see some fireworks? Please show me fireworks. Do not disappoint me. That'd be embarrassing. Jeremiah Smith, Player of the Week. That's a good sign. And we lose to UAB. We are fraudulent. Oh, no. All right, well, we'll use these skill points, and then we'll get through the bracket here. Use it on that. Use it on that. All right, we're coming up on finishing this entire top section of Recruiter. There's a lot of stuff we could go into, but we're not going to have time to. Let's keep moving on to the national championship game. It was Miami in year number 1. It was Kansas State in year number 2. Who is going to be the 3rd national champion here in this simulation? We will find out when we get there. It is going to be a matchup between Oregon and LSU. All right, Oregon and LSU. Oregon was in it in year 1. They lost to Miami. Will they get their revenge and win a championship this time? No, it's going to be LSU who takes the 3rd championship. Very, very cool. Okay. So it ends up being LSU. Oregon and Oklahoma battled, and then LSU and Purdue faced off. So NC State ends up being a fraudulent number 1 seed. They lose to the number 8 seeded LSU Tigers in the first round, or their first round. Okay, that's the year 3 playoffs. That is the year 3 playoffs, and I think we have everything taken care of. I've already got my pictures for the conference standings, so we can keep moving on here and get to the realignment period of Season 3 heading into year number 4. The Buckeyes keep losing their prestige stars. I'm kind of scared the Buckeyes are going to fall off. Jeremiah Smith wants to go to the NFL draft. He wants to go round 1. No. He's going to go to the... Okay. Jeremiah... Hey, we kept him from transferring, which is all I could... is more than I could ask. Peyton Pierce wants to transfer... Yeah, transfer for playing style. He will not come back. Gabe Van Sickle will not come back. And Deontay Armstrong will not come back. So I used all my magic and voodoo to get Jeremiah Smith back in year number 1 because we lose out on all those guys. So on offense, we lose Brandon Ennis, Kane Holtz, Carnell Tate. Ugh, this team's going to be bad, isn't it? All of our starters and all of our great players are gone to either graduation, NFL draft, or transferring to other programs. I guess we'll see the results of where Jeremiah Smith did go. I would assume he'd be the number 1 overall pick in the draft, but that's just me. Number 1 for Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs also goes round 1, Carnell Tate round 3, along with Arvell Reese. Jermaine Matthews also goes round 3, and then Brandon Ennis in round 7. All seems pretty fair. I would expect all that to happen in real life. Jeremiah Smith, certainly number 1 overall pick type of material. We get a 4-star right guard. We need to replenish the receivers and replenish everything. This team's going to be bad, isn't it? This team's going to be very, very bad. We get a 3-star left guard. That's not the direction we want to go. We want to be going up. 5 stars, 4 stars, not 3 stars. At least we're still ranked. I don't know how we made the college football playoff, if you're asking me. 4-star corner, okay. 4-star wide receiver, Chris Durr Jr. 4-star corner. Now we're talking. No 5 stars in this little half, or the ending recruiting period, but some 4-star people are going to help us out for sure. A 3-star guard. It's not the direction we want to go in for guards. And we get to official National Signing Day. So we end with not a top 15 class. Oregon finishes back-to-back years of the number 1 class in the country. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, we actually do have finished a 15 class. We have number 15. That's pretty cool. Nevada, again, at the bottom of the country in terms of recruiting. James Madison. Any big name teams? Iowa down here again. Pittsburgh. South Carolina. All right. That's where recruiting is for year number 3. Let's get to the good stuff. The stuff that matters for this video. The stuff that matters. Not training results. We do not care. Training results do not matter for us for the purposes of this video. Here we go. Custom conferences. So I will go and get everything sorted for year number 4, and I'll bring you guys back when it's done. Okay, everything is set for year number 4. We got some new additions to the American, including Louisville. Pretty fun there, along with, I think the new addition was... Who was the new addition over here along with them? Let me check real quick. Who was the new addition over here? It was... Duke. I should have known that already, but Duke's right there. I just didn't recognize them in the for some reason. Then we've got Pittsburgh and UAB now up in the ACC. The Big Ten has Central Michigan and Northwestern returns. The Big 12 gets New Mexico State and UTEP now. Then we've got Conference USA still has Kansas. They have Texas Tech and Western Kentucky. The MAC gets Iowa again, along with Akron. Still Penn State. Mountain West gets Fresno State and Hawaii back, and the Pac-12 gets Utah State and Oregon State back. SEC gets Auburn back, along with South Alabama. Good for them. And then Sunbelt gets App State back and Louisiana back, but they still have South Carolina, Missouri. So those are your custom conferences for year number 4. I need to make sure that everything is still the same, right? Everybody's still playing 8 games. Just want to make sure that that is... Yeah, it looks like everybody's still going to be playing 8 games. Okay, perfect. Didn't want that to change. All right, so we are now headed into year number 4 of the simulation. We only have this year and next year, year number 5, to go. So we will see what happens in these next 2 years. What is going to be the landscape of college football after this simulation is over? Looks like we play Northwestern, Central Michigan, Purdue, Nebraska, Toledo. Finally, they put the game back on here. It's about time. They've been dodging us for 3 years. All right, we'll see how the Buckeyes do with this new Big Ten conference. It's kind of weird, but I'm going to simulate the season, and we'll figure it all out when I bring you back in. This is what I was afraid of. The Ohio State Buckeyes are 4-8 here in year number 4 of the simulation. I don't know why the Buckeyes, for some reason, in simulation, always simulate so poorly. But maybe all I need to do is look in the mirror and look at Ryan Day and realize, oh yeah, that's why they simulate so badly. And that's coming from a true Ohio State fan. All right, so we've got to take a little peek at the conference standings. Are the Buckeyes going down? I think I saw that they are, actually, so we'll take a look at that in a second. So the ACC, North Carolina and Wake Forest. I mean, we knew this was coming. North Carolina had been the bottom half of the recruiting in the top classes for most of the simulation. So we knew this was coming eventually, and it finally gets them. They will move down to the AAC next year. That's gross. Along with Wake Forest. Miami was very close. And moving up will be East Carolina and North Texas, so there will be no teams moving up that were original. Louisville, Virginia, Duke, California all stay down. That's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for. Then we get the Big 12, and we have, oh no, they were the champions! Kansas State, who won the title in year number 2, and then had the year 3 Heisman winner, who was only a sophomore, by the way, so he's still quarterback of this team, unless he transferred, I guess. They will play in the Conference USA next year. Wow. Along with New Mexico State, who falls back down. Jumping up is Jacksonville State and Middle Tennessee. So Kansas, for some reason, just can't figure it out. And same thing with Texas Tech. They almost got there, but they didn't. In the Big Ten, oh no, don't show me it. Oh no, the Buckeyes are going down. No. My worst nightmare. The Ohio State University will play in the MAC in year number 5, along with Rutgers, who didn't win a single conference game. You know what? I'm surprised that Rutgers hasn't gone down earlier. Oh no. The Buckeyes are playing in the MAC next year. That's not good. Who's coming up? Penn State returns along with UMass. So Iowa and Wisconsin just can't get it figured out. They stay in the MAC. Oh no, Penn State will return. I'm shocked that they didn't come up last year. So the Ohio State Buckeyes will play in the MAC next year. Insanity. UCLA and Oregon State will go back down to the Mountain West. And Washington finally returns along with Fresno State. Man, this has been absolutely crazy. The SEC has Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. So 2 new teams that have not gone down yet. They will go down to the Sun Belt. And coming back up finally is Missouri, who goes undefeated in the conference, along with Arkansas State. So South Carolina will stay in the Sun Belt for another season. Oh my God. Absolute insanity here in year number 4 of the simulation. I gotta know. What's the one game that we won in the conference? No, it's Toledo. I'm not even going to scroll any further because I know that final game of the season's now a loss. Oh, that hurts the old soul. The Buckeyes are in the MAC. Oh, for year number 5 as well. For year number 5. This is going to hurt recruiting, that's for sure. That is going to hurt the old recruiting. All right, we will take a look. Final time so I can get the pictures ready for the ACC. It is North Carolina and Wake Forest. We knew that. And going up, it is East Carolina and North Texas. In the Big 12, it'll be going down New Mexico State and Kansas State. And going up will be Jacksonville State and Middle Tennessee. Going down, unfortunately, is Ohio State and Rutgers. Coming up, Penn State returns along with UMass. Going down to the Mountain West is UCLA and Oregon State. Coming up, Washington and Fresno State. And then going down in the SEC is Vandy and Mississippi State. And coming up is Missouri and Arkansas State. Back where they probably belong, at least Missouri. Although if you're not a Missouri fan, maybe you don't think they belong. Who knows? Okay, so those are the official standings. Who's going up, who's going down. Heisman finalist, if you're curious, here in year number 4, is Michael Hawkins Jr., who could win. But we've seen these 3 years that the person who finishes second in this like ranking here is the one they give it to. So we'll see if DJ Lagway is the one who gets the Heisman Trophy or not. And it looks like he stayed with Florida all 4 years, which is kind of crazy because I've seen him transfer like almost every single time. He's transferred in different simulations. He leaves Florida, but it looks like he stayed. So good for Florida. They didn't go down to the Sun Belt, so that's good for them. And we will prepare ourselves for MAC play in year number 5. And it goes to neither of the two guys that I was projected to go to. It goes to Ryan Puglisi. I don't, that sounds inappropriate. But he had 51 touchdowns. He's the quarterback of Georgia. He wins the Heisman. How did it go to him? I could have sworn that said Oklahoma. Did that not say Oklahoma before? I could have sworn that said Oklahoma. A player for Oklahoma. What happened with the Heisman voting? I could have swore that said somebody from Oklahoma. I guess I'm wrong. I must be mistaken somehow because it goes to him. And we have the official bracket laid out for you. Obviously, we're not going to see the Buckeyes in here. It'll be Georgia, NC State, Cincinnati, and USC. Then we have Washington and Florida, Old Dominion, Penn State, SMU and Oklahoma, and East Carolina and Oregon. So there are no former champions in this bracket because we had Miami, Kansas State, and LSU. So there are no former champions in here to try to go for another one. At least we're getting some variety. But that's not really how college football works if you think about it. Usually it's the same teams over and over again. But we will find out who is the top team here in year number 4 of simulation, and we will prepare ourselves mentally to play the MAC next year with the Ohio State University. That's crazy. We're going to be having MAC teams come to the shoe in conference games. Oh, it hurts the soul. It hurts the soul, but it has to happen. It'll be Washington. Oregon has played in 3 of these, and they have not won a single one. Is this their time? They have played in 3 out of the 4 national championship games. Will they finally get one? We have a D- pro potential? Oh my God. Why do the Buckeyes simulate so poorly? Who got it done? Oregon gets it done, so they finally win a national title. They were in 3 out of 4 national championship games, and they finally get it done here in year 4. They had to take on East Carolina, NC State, Oklahoma, and then Washington to get it done. Old Dominion actually made it through a round. Good for them. Oh, man. The Buckeyes, why? Why are you simulating so poorly? They do it every single simulation. I don't know why it is. Why do the Buckeyes... And we haven't seen Alabama at the top, really. So, that's something. Oh, my God. Everybody's transferring for pro potential. I don't think I can get any of these guys back. Oh, we get Gallimore back. That's good. Little John does not want to stay. Ian Moore does not want to stay. Oh my God, it's all crumbling at my feet. We're losing everybody. We even lost the guy that we had a high chance to get back. Oh my God, everybody's leaving. Everybody is leaving, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. I mean, you're not going to be playing meaningful football for at least a season, so it makes sense you want to get out of here. Oh, this is crazy. I should have picked a different team. Okay, draft results. Do we have anybody go in the draft? We had no Ohio State players draft. That is just not true. You cannot have a draft without a Buckeye, at least one Buckeye getting drafted. We are in the worst timeline possible. This is out of control. At least we got a 3-star quarterback to cut. We are a 3-star prestige school. We started this at a full prestige, a full 5-star prestige school. We are now a 3-star prestige university. We're getting all of the quarterbacks. 2 3-stars and a 4-star have committed to this school. But they're going to be playing MAC conference games in year 4. Or in year 5, I mean. Excuse me, year 5. I mean, at least people are committing. They're not probably that great of players, but at least they're committing. They're all a bunch of threes. We don't need any more quarterbacks. Why do they keep going for quarterbacks? We are getting some 4-star. A 2-star? What? A 2-star has committed to The Ohio State University? Oh, we're in all shambles. It's all shambles up in here. Out of control. If we're going after 2-stars, then we are in trouble. We get a 3-star, a 3-star, another quarterback. That's like our, oh my God, okay, I get it. We need quarterback. You don't have to keep going after them. You've gotten like 9 quarterbacks. National Signing Day, where do we finish? Probably not very good. Georgia's at the top, so they dethrone Oregon. We're 15th. No 5-stars, but we're top 15 in the country. What about the bottom half? Kent State, Bengals not doing a good job. Northern Illinois, UMass, Old Dominion, unfortunately. They're playing in the SEC. They're not going to have that good of a class. That's kind of brutal. Then you've got... Actually, there's a lot of teams that you would expect to be down here. Not really many of the teams that we've seen in the past are down there at the bottom this year. So maybe we're going to be seeing some things change as we head into the final year of simulation for this promotion and relegation simulation. We do have some skills to upgrade. I'll just keep going into recruiting because I might as well. I mean, we don't got anything else to worry about, do we? We ain't got Big Ten play. Okay, let's move on. And this should be what we're looking for here. This should be the part of the thing that we're at. And it is custom conferences. Okay, so let's go and unfortunately put the Buckeyes in the MAC along with everybody else in their respective conferences. And we'll get ready for the final year. It's been done, unfortunately. I hated doing it, but it's been done. So we see Wake Forest in the AAC along with North Carolina, which feels weird. Hey, North Carolina and Duke back together again. In the ACC, we get East Carolina and we get... Who went up with East Carolina? I think it wasn't UAB, I don't think. Who went up with East Carolina? Hold on, I'll check really quickly. I haven't deleted it yet. It is North Texas. North Texas goes up to the ACC. In the Big Ten, it is UMass and Penn State making their return. And yes, I did do it. In the MAC, it is The Ohio State University along with Rutgers. Wow, I can't even look at it. In the Big 12, Middle Tennessee and Jacksonville State go up to the Big 12. And coming down is Kansas State and New Mexico State back down. In the Mountain West, we have Oregon State and UCLA back down. I think they've both been down here before. And then in the Pac-12, we get Fresno State and Washington finally makes their return. In the SEC, we get Missouri back up, and Arkansas State makes their debut in the SEC. And then in the Sun Belt, it is Vandy and Mississippi State joining their fellow team, South Carolina, down here. So that is the new conference alignment for the final season of this simulation. Please allow the Buckeyes to make their return. I'm going to cry if we finish this video and the Buckeyes are still in the MAC. Oh my God, a 3-star program is absolutely diabolical. What does their schedule look like? They play Alabama. Oh, great. Okay, so we do have Iowa on the schedule. We have Rutgers on the schedule. We still have Michigan on the schedule, even though we're a MAC team now. They dodged us for 3 years. Now they want to play. This is a gross conference schedule, but it is what it is. Year number 5 of the simulation, the final year. Can the Buckeyes make their return to the Big Ten? We will find out in a bit. We get to year 5, and the Buckeyes are 6-6. So unless the entire MAC just absolutely sucked, I don't think we are going to be moving up in this final year of simulation. Let's take a little peek at what's happening here. So in the ACC, Notre Dame won the conference most likely. It'll be SMU if we were going to go another year. SMU and Charlotte would move down, and moving up would be USF and North Carolina. So they go down for a year. They got a gut check, a reality check. They realized we can't be down here. We're North Carolina, and they move back up. Then in the Big 12, TCU most likely will win the conference. Baylor and Jacksonville State. I got to feel bad for Jacksonville State. They got their shot, but they could not do it. Then we get Western Kentucky and Kansas State moving. Kansas went down the very first year, and they never could get back up. That's kind of embarrassing. Same kind of thing with Texas Tech, really. Not the very first year. In the Big Ten, we have Toledo and Ball State moving down again. Central Michigan gets to stay up along with UMass. And then coming back up, it'll be most likely Bowling Green and Buffalo. So Iowa, Rutgers, and Ohio State and Wisconsin all will stay in the MAC if we were to go even further. In the Pac-12, BYU and Utah State will move down. UCLA gets to come back up again. They've had a roller coaster of emotions. And Colorado State will get to come up. In the SEC, Auburn, they went from getting relegated to the Sun Belt, coming back up to the SEC, and now winning most likely winning the they'll play in the conference championship game. And it'll be Missouri going right back down along with South Alabama. Man, these Missouri fans cannot catch a break, can they? And then coming up, Marshall and Coastal Carolina, so none of the SEC originals get to come back up in year 6 if they were to go year 6. Mississippi State, Vandy, and South Carolina all stay down, and they will be joined by Missouri again and South Alabama. Kind of crazy how this realignment has gone. And at the very end of the video, I will show you a side-by-side of the conferences and how they look from the original conference, and then obviously the look at the final look at the conference. So we'll show you a side by side of what they look like, and it's probably going to be pretty crazy. Michael Haskins Jr. This is the guy that I thought was projected to win it last year. Well, he gets it this year, so I guess the mistakes have been rectified, but I'm pretty sure his name was the guy that I thought was projected. Oh my God, the Buckeyes have fallen so low that they just barely qualified for a bowl game, and the bowl game that they qualify for is the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Oh, you know what? Don't even play in it. Don't even freaking go. If I was Ohio State, I wouldn't go. Don't even go to the freaking game, man. That's disgusting. Oh my God. So it's Oregon with a chance to defend their title. Then you got Northwestern, who's had they were relegated at one point. Western Kentucky, who was also relegated. They've had a kind of a roller coaster. And then Auburn. Then you got Arkansas State, Oklahoma, NC State, Stanford, who's making their first appearance. TCU and Notre Dame, who's also, fun fact, making their first appearance, I'm pretty sure. Colorado and Miami. So that's your playoff bracket for the final year of simulation. And I'll take a picture of the standings for one final time, even though we're not going to go another season. But I will take one final picture just to get the conferences realigned, to take the final snapshot and show you side by side of what they would look like at the end of 5 years of simulation. So I will get these, the teams that are going to move up and down in their respective conferences, just so that we can get ready to go for the end of the video here. So Baylor and Jacksonville State, and then you've got Western Kentucky and Kansas State. You've got Toledo and Ball State going back down. And then in the MAC, it is Bowling Green and Buffalo coming back up. In the Pac-12, it is BYU and Utah State, and UCLA and Colorado State. And then it is going to be Missouri and South Alabama, and Marshall and Coastal Carolina. I like the fact that there wasn't a original SEC team that goes back up in the final year. It makes it more interesting. Okay, so I got all those figured out, and I guess we will find out. Are we going to be winners of the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl? I mean, that's more of an embarrassing statement than I ever thought it would be. How the mighty have fallen for The Ohio State University. It looks like we did win it. Oh, congratulations. We get to win the freaking Tony the Tiger Bowl. Oh, what have we fallen to? We get strategist unlocked, which whoop-de-doo. Oh, how the mighty have fallen here in 5 years of simulation. I guess that's what happens when you don't take control. This is how the state of the program is. 5 years deep. Absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace. All right, who's playing in the final national championship game? It'll be Western Kentucky and Stanford. Western Kentucky and Stanford. So Oregon, who is the only team from this simulation who has had a chance to repeat, and they don't. We are going to have a new champion every single year of the 5 years. We had Miami, Kansas State, LSU, Oregon, and now either Western Kentucky or Stanford will win the national championship, which is just so wild to see. Talk about parity in college football. I mean, we're getting 5 new champions, one champion every year. One new champion? That's crazy. No team has gone back to back. I mean, Oregon played in 3 different national title games, but they only won one of them. Western Kentucky has won the final national championship of the simulation. What planet am I on? Oh my God, this is out of control. This is actually out of control. We've gone up to a 4-star prestige, thankfully. That makes me a little bit happier. We're losing a lot of guys to championship contender. I'm not even going to bring those guys back because why would I? So we're not going another year, so it doesn't really matter if they leave or not. Okay, let's check draft results really quickly. Just because I'm curious. We had Mylan Graham get drafted in round 1. Bryce West goes round 2. Jose Ortega, who was a part of that original recruiting class, he gets drafted in round 4. And then Edric Houston also drafted. He's in round 5. So at least it's better than last year where we didn't have anybody get drafted. We will sim to National Signing Day. Check out the final top classes and see where everybody falls. And then I will get the conferences realigned one last time so that we can take those screenshots and show you exactly where everybody stands. So National Signing Day, we have probably not a very good... Oh! We have a top 10 class. We're on the rise. The Buckeyes are back, baby. And Oregon is once again the top class in the country. They were there 2 years in a row, and now they're here again. So Oregon might be a perennial champion. But we're top 10, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Buckeyes are back. And the bottom teams are Texas State, Air Force, Miami of Ohio, James Madison, yada, yada, yada. Louisville's down here. I'm sure they've been hit pretty hard with some negative ratings, that's for sure. Akron's down here. The champions, Western Kentucky, finish 120. They bring in 1 3-star commitment. How? They had a super Cinderella run. The most Mickey Mouse championship of all time, maybe. Minnesota's down here. California's down here. Some top 25 teams are down here. All right, that is where some of the teams finish in terms of their final year of recruiting in the video. And we will get to the good stuff. We will get to the champions of champions. All right, one final time of conference realignment. I will go and do this very quickly, and then we'll wrap up the video once I've finished. So for the final time, I have reset the conferences. Everybody is good to go, and this is what the ACC looks like here in year number 5 of after 5 years of simulation and conference promotion relegation. You should be seeing a picture of year 1 of the AAC right now to show you what it looks like, what it looked like previously to the simulation and what it looks like now. We move on to the ACC. This is what it looks like after 5 years of promotion relegation. And this, you should be seeing now, is a picture of the ACC originally, before we started simulating. So that is what it looks like originally. Here comes the Big Ten. This is what the Big Ten looks like now. The Big Ten looks crazy different, obviously. And then you should be seeing the Big Ten when we started, what it looked like. There you go. Then the Big 12. Big 12's had a couple of changes as well. You had UTEP, Middle Tennessee. Kansas State's had a wild roller coaster ride. Western Kentucky just won the championship, and they move up. And then, obviously, the Big 12, when we first started the video, you should be seeing that now. We go over to Conference USA. This is what Conference USA goes for, or it looks like now. Unfortunately, Kansas just never could get back. They went down in the first year, and they never could come back. Texas Tech stays down here. Baylor's now down here. This is what Conference USA looked like at the beginning. You should be seeing that. Then we get to the MAC, and the MAC has had some crazy changes. I mean, Iowa's been down here for a little bit. They've had some up and downs. Wisconsin was down here almost from the entire video. Obviously, we have Ohio State and Rutgers down here now, but this is obviously what the MAC looks like now. Let's see what the MAC looked like originally. So you should be seeing that. Then we get to the Mountain West. The Mountain West has had a few changes, but not really as many as you would think. A lot of the top teams in the Pac-12 stayed at the top. Hawaii got the chance to move up and down a little bit. Oregon State was up and down. Washington, Utah State were up and down. This is what the Mountain West looked like originally. And then the Pac-12. Pac-12 had some movement here and there, but for the most part, this is probably the one that stayed the most consistent. Colorado State's up here now. UCLA had a little bit of movement. Washington State got a little bit of movement, but a lot of these teams stayed up here for the majority of the video. This is what the Pac-12 looked like originally, and this is originally from the video, not originally from like the two teams that are in it nowadays. Then the final two, SEC, who, to be fair, has probably had the least amount of change, but that's just because the SEC is very big, and they got a lot of big teams. But Marshall's up here now. Old Dominion got to stay up. Auburn won the conference this year after having some up and down years. Arkansas State's up here, so you can have Arkansas versus Arkansas State now, I guess. And this is what the SEC looked like originally. You'll be seeing that now. And then finally, the Sun Belt, where we have a few SEC teams: Missouri, Vandy, South Carolina, Mississippi State. This is my favorite one because of all these SEC teams that are down here, and they couldn't come back up. Like South Carolina was down here multiple years. Vandy was down here. Missouri was up and down for a little bit. They were up, then they were down, then they were up, then they were down. And this is what the Sun Belt looked like originally when we started the video. So that is 5 years of promotion and relegation for college football in College Football 25. I'm very interested in promotion relegation. I think that it is a cool concept. I think that it has really nice rewards for teams that deserve, like they fought so hard during the season that they get the reward is they get to go play up with the big leagues, and they keep going and going and going. They have something to work for. And obviously there's some big negatives, there's some big drawbacks and consequences if you end up getting relegated. But one of the things that I feel like college football does lack, because obviously it's a college sport, so there's no tanking for like a draft pick or something. Like if you were in a pro league like the NFL or the NBA or NHL or whatever it may be, baseball. I guess you can't tank in baseball really anymore because of the lottery, but you get the idea. There's a goal for being bad. Like if you're bad, you're going to get rewarded with a top draft pick, most likely. But in college football, there's no reward or consequence for being bad. The only consequence for being bad is you don't really get the recruits, and then you just stay bad. So at least with promotion relegation, there is a reward system and a consequences system for teams that are consistently bad and teams that may have good seasons. Like we saw some maybe one and done, some fairy tale type of seasons. Missouri had some up and down seasons. We had some MAC teams go up. Ball State was up for a year. And there were some ACC teams and some AAC teams that were like flip-flopping around. And we saw some pretty big moves, like North Carolina went down for a season. Some SEC teams like South Carolina and Missouri, all those teams went down. Obviously, maybe the biggest one was Ohio State moving down. So, I mean, there was a lot of shakeup in the conferences here with promotion relegation. I think it's a really cool concept and a really cool idea. And if you want to see me do this again, with this same save file, or maybe we start fresh with a different save file with different teams and different conferences, let me know down below in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.